Project, Inclusion Training for Teachers and Students. I'm Sarah Bradford. When we think about our students and the kids that we're working with, the most important thing we want them to know is, I am capable, I am enough, I am constantly growing, I am brave, I am confident, and I am strong. So today in this talk, the I Am Project, I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about how to create inclusivity in your groups, with students, with teachers, and just in the community in general. Just a little bit of knowledge turns fear into understanding. And we can really use that to our advantage, especially with younger ones, to help them understand peers that might be different than them. The I Am Project is dedicated to developing systems and strategies to foster peer relationship building skills. The I Am Project is designed to guide teachers and students to create an inclusive environment. The I Am Project is devoted to creating confidence, leadership, and acceptance for each student. I'm Sarah Bradford, a neurodivergent mom and children's book author. My experience is in subjects such as autism, dyslexia, physical differences, anxiety, Down syndrome, and more. I have a passion for helping children understand themselves, as well as supporting their peers with neurodiverse needs, encouraging love and inclusion in every situation. I'm a member of the Autism Council of Utah, the owner of the SJ Child LLC. I run a Facebook group, Autism Advocate Support Group, and I'm a global autism speaker. I am a podcast host, a talk show host, as I say here, at the SJ Child Show. It's a place I have found to be a new passion for connecting with others and bringing value to families through education, resources, and lots of laughs. I'm working on projects to strengthen the community, partnering with our local children's hospital, emergency responders, corporate autism training programs for employers, and this amazing opportunity to help where I believe it belongs the most, in the classrooms and with students. This is DJ. DJ was diagnosed at 16 months old with autism. He was reading at age 1, writing at age 2, and at 3, we realized he had a photographic memory. Today, he's 13, going on college professor. He loves the periodic table, which is he memorized at 4 years old, and his love of math and languages, 133 to be exact. Dustin and I have been together for 19 years, married for 14. I realized when DJ was 8 years old that Dustin, my best friend and husband, was also on the autism spectrum. Anna, my daughter, I would in the next 5 years discover, Anna and I would discover our place on the autism spectrum as well. So that brings us to why I'm here today, to talk about inclusion, support, but more importantly, application, and how we can create some systems and some stations for fun and enjoyable learning. Teaching your student about neurodiversity and inclusion with these ideas can make it easier. Books, games, peer groups, group activities, and discussions. Some books that can help teach inclusion are Geraldine by Elizabeth Lilly, When Charlie Met Emma by Amy Webb, The Invisible Boy by Trudy Ludwig and Patrice Barton, and Don't Hug Doug, He Doesn't Like It by Carrie Finnison. Some game ideas for the classroom and outdoors to kind of start to include everyone based on their abilities is a game of I Spy, using clouds, ink blots, or obscure items, and that way giving kind of everyone a chance to understand each person's different perspectives. Scavenger hunts, You can team up to find items. You can go to your local libraries or a library at the school, and you can look for library books with information in them, different locations, etc. Peer groups and discussions. Why is it important to understand differences? What makes a community? How do we include all peers? Posing these questions to start the discussions can help gather the information and also to start building the ideas in the group. And you can kind of go from there and, see what kind of ideas they come up with. So, what if we give kids exactly what they want to teach them? Who doesn't know a kid in any situation who doesn't like video games these days? Well, luckily, video games can help bring kids together. The Social Express app is an app that features a series of appealing animated episodes that model real-world social situations. Rather than passively watching the scenes play out, kids have choices to make, such as helping the characters navigate common social interactions, following social cues, and make appropriate decisions. Along the way, they learn key social skills in a safe environment that makes it much easier to transfer the skills to daily life. Social Adventures, developed by learning and behavior experts, Social Adventures offers a treasure trove of resources for caregivers or educators looking for ways to help kids, particularly those with learning difficulties or special needs, to learn about practices, basic social strategies, skills, and routines. While it's not necessarily a game, it features a host of activities and games caregivers and educators can facilitate with individual kids or small groups. Physical differences is difficult for children to identify with. Therefore, educating and bringing kids together brings unity, inclusion, support, and decreases of judgment and bullying. Some activities you can help to help give the typical kids or kids without disabilities an idea of what it might be like to have a disability would be role-playing activities, educating on biology, matching up interests, and again, discussions with your group. Let's talk about Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a condition in which a person has an extra chromosome. Can science help? Yes, talk about science to better understand Down syndrome peers. Teach about chromosomes. You can even use a marshmallow game to teach kids about speech impairment. Other role-playing activities, watching videos, most importantly, those discussions. So, why do we want to learn any of these things? And what are we trying to do to gain these skills? We are building future leaders. And we want these future leaders to know, I am learning empathy through shared experience and role-playing. I'm exploring friendships based on interests. I'm finding the confidence to be kind to myself and others. Autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and anxiety. A lot of invisible disabilities, including hearing impaired, which you can see that they might be using sign language, but it's still something you can't tell if you just see someone on a train going by. So we're going to discuss ways to teach a group about these types of disabilities so that they can be more understanding and include more of their peers in any way they can. How do you teach about dyslexia? That's tricky. Well, 1 in 5 students, or 15 to 20% of the population, has a language-based learning disability, and dyslexia is the most common of language-based learning disabilities. Nearly the same percentage of males and females have dyslexia. I'm going to tell you a story, personal story about dyslexia, and that is my daughter Anna also has dyslexia. When she was in second grade, I asked her teacher to test her for dyslexia. And the teacher looked at me and said, "Oh, I don't think she needs to be tested for dyslexia. She is very brilliant. She always knows all the facts. She's reading a little behind, but she'll catch up. She just needs some practice." So when the pandemic happened and I brought her home and had to homeschool her, I saw in my own eyes that she was writing backwards. And I thought to myself, what in the heck? How did this get missed? So you teachers especially know how difficult dyslexia can be to identify, and kids need extra support. We have to look at the actual symptoms that are happening and not just the child's disposition. Here's some ideas for teaching what dyslexia might be like. Teaching students the challenge a dyslexic student may face, I think is really important, because oftentimes I know my daughter in particular feels like she's always needing help, and that sometimes kids tease her that she's the one that always needs help. But like we said before, she's very emotionally intelligent. So it's a struggle for her to know that she's more mature than these kids. At the same time, she's struggling being on the same academic level as them as well. You can use mirrors and 3D glasses to change numbers and letters. Again, role-playing activities, watching videos, and discussions. Group discussions can really help to let everyone know that they're in a safe place and they can be trusted to, learn new ideas about people with their groups. So here's some more affirmations. I am learning relationship building skills. I'm understanding the challenges that some peers face. I'm becoming a leader when I show compassion to others. What is anxiety? Help kids identify, understand, and find ways to strategize and overcome their anxiety. The more kids understand the physiological side of what anxiety is, aching tummy or heart pounding, out of breath, you can help them better identify where those feelings and what those symptoms might be coming from. Teach about anxiety by asking students to identify a fear and explain physical changes such as heightened breathing, sweating, chest or stomach pain. Explain those can be some symptoms of anxiety. Role-playing and using imagination to observe potential signs of anxiety using fear-based stories, again, age-appropriate, and observe body language, nervous fidgeting. That way you can help those students that might be suffering from anxiety. We can help them use counting down and breathing exercises to help reduce anxiety. Take a deep breath right now. Feels really good when you just can have a calm mind and be present in the moment. I am choosing to support my fellow peers. I am gaining skills for life in friendship and accountability. I am part of a creation of a better environment. Today, 1 in 44 individuals is autistic. Autism is a neurological difference in the way brains process information. Some books like A Friend Like Simon and a really great YouTube video by a great friend of mine, David Sharif, is My Name is David. you can find those, and they can really help to facilitate learning what autism might be like for a typical student. Here are some stats that I just wanted to share. This is the prevalence rate of autism. As you can see, 241% higher than the baseline stats in 2000. It is really rising. Autism is more likely to be prevalent in boys than girls for a diagnosis. I think because the diagnosis needs to be looked at and evolved, but that's a whole nother presentation. How can we help students understand autism? Interest-built activities, again, videos like My Name is David, or discussions with your group. So many times I'm in a classroom and we're talking about the day that DJ wore his, headphones, his noise canceling headphones. And a student says, I have noise canceling headphones at home that I need to use when we're going to the airport. I need to use mine when we're driving in the car. And it's just such a great way to engage everyone in the group. So really great ways to help bring an understanding of autism to those typical peers. I am showing up for my peers as a leader. I am proud to stand up for my peers in all situations. I am accountable for my actions and an example to others. Just like autism and dyslexia, ADHD can be difficult to teach about. 6.1 million American children have ADHD. 5 in 10 children with ADHD have a behavior or conduct problem. And 62% of children with ADHD take medication. 4.4% of American adults have ADHD. Something I'd like to preface on all of this that I think is really good to keep in mind for everyone is that all behavior is communication. And learning to understand that humans' communication is the way we will start to apply dignity and grace to all humans and hopefully create a better society in the future with that understanding. ADHD, this is a great video to explain. It's called Let's Talk About ADHD. It's only a few minutes long, and it's a really great way to help typical peers understand what somebody might have challenges with if they have an ADHD diagnosis. I'm practicing inclusion through compassion. I am gaining valuable skills and preparing for my future. I am learning how to build bonds with others through interests. So how can we tie all of this together? I'm going to talk to you about creating a sensory experience. Setting up stations. These are some ideas, some actual physical activities that you can interject into your lesson or your group discussions about different types of disabilities or sensory experiences. For example, you could use mirrored letters for showing that what dyslexia could be like for a student. 3D glasses could show a sensory overload, vision impairment. Steel wool, like rubbed on the skin, can show a sensory reaction for people with autism and ADHD. Loud music can be a sensory overload for people with autism and ADHD. Noise canceling headphones, you can show them how they are able to suppress from the loud music. That can help understanding sensory overloads, autism, And hearing impairment, you can also use that to show hearing impairment, people speaking to them with the noise canceling headphones on and not being able to understand what is going on around them. And then we had also talked about, with Down syndrome, using marshmallow in the mouth to simulate what a speech impairment might be like for a student with Down syndrome. So how do we tie this all together? We want to start with surveying peer interests. We want to find out what are the hobbies and interests of the group of peers or students that we're working with. We want to engage those peers in activities that they have in common, whether it's games, books, running through the park. There's so many things. I'm sure when you survey for those peer interests, you'll find some common grounds to work with. This is all building trust, and trust is what's going to help solidify these relationships. It's going to help bring down bullying in these students that have a better understanding of the struggles that other students might face. We definitely want to make sure that we arrange schedules accordingly and schedule consistency, especially when we're including and engaging our special needs peers. Sometimes they have very strict schedules that they like to stick to that makes them feel more comfortable and have more control. And we want to be very respectful and honorable about those things as well. We're going to set weekly goals, monthly goals, however you preface to do so. That way we can check back in, make sure things are working. If they're not, we can change them. If they are, we can add them or just keep going. We are going to encourage compassion in our inclusion. Everybody wants to feel included. Today I heard a really wonderful story, and I'm so excited that I am recording this now, that I've heard this story so that I can share it with you. It was about a woman who works in an all abilities facility. And some of the participants in this facility have trouble, suffer from cerebral palsy, and have a hard time being able to turn their head in certain fashions to observe things. And so this woman is constantly now in her own mind affirming that she is putting them in a position in which they have the access to the activity that everyone else is engaged in. I think that was really beautiful. Another one she was talking about was that they were playing like a football, throw the football into the ring type of activity. And there was a participant that didn't have a limb and wasn't able to do that. So instead of not being able to be included in the activity, they brought that participant over, and they got to do like a fist bump with the football to give the football good luck, and then that football was thrown on behalf of them. And just the inclusion part of that, to know that everybody wants to be a part, and we need to find out how best to facilitate those ways to participate for those who can't. We are building leadership skills. We want confident leaders, and we want to do this through affirming really great skills, like how to stick up for those who are, more challenged than you. We want to celebrate their success. Those weekly goals that we talked about, when we see the success, we want to celebrate that and let it be known that these kinds of activities and bringing peers together are making positive changes in the world. We want to enhance peer interactions by having school functions or after school functions for all abilities. And like I just said, to really look and find the access for all students of all abilities. And the final thing we want to do, of course, is follow up. We want to follow up with our teachers, our students, our leaders, and see what they need. Check in with them. How can we be more supportive? How can we help them in any way more? I'm using kindness to help others. I'm using kindness to help make others feel included. I am excited to build relationships with different peers. I am using helpful language and actions to show support. So again, those steps for special needs support system are hobbies and interests, peer engagement, building trust, schedule consistency, set measurable goals, encourage inclusion, build confident leaders, celebrate success, enhance peer interactions, and follow up. So, in conclusion, why do we want to do all of these things? The most important reason: to stop bullying. Physical bullying, verbal bullying, social bullying, cyberbullying, all things that our special needs students deal with on a 4-to-1 over our typical peers. They suffer from verbal harassment. 79% of them report verbal harassment, 50% social harassment, 29% physical bullying, and 25% cyberbullying. And I thought really interesting in this next slide to show the location of where kids are being bullied. 9% of students are being bullied in the bathroom, 6.4% in the cafeteria, an astounding 33.6% of students are being bullied in the classroom, and an unfortunate 47.2% in the hallway or stairwell where an adult usually isn't present. Outside on school grounds, 23.6%, on the school bus, 6.3%, and somewhere else than at school, 3.2%. We need to bring teachers, parents, and students of families of all abilities together. That is how we will be overcoming and holding accountable everyone for bullying in our society. Remember, just a little bit of knowledge turns fear into understanding. We want our students and leaders to know, I am enough, I am capable, I am constantly growing, I am strong, I am confident, and I am brave. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this information with you today. If you'd like to follow me, you can find me at the SJ Child Show. I'm also on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Apple. I stream on all the streaming podcasts, so you can find me there. You can also go to my website at sjchilds.org, where you can find my special needs children's book collection. I have these. They are on Amazon, and I am encouraging love and inclusion in every situation. Thank you so much for your time today. Here's my information. If you have any questions on autism, on any of the other disabilities that we talked about, or about how to create a sensory space or a more inclusive environment, please reach out to me anytime. Like I said, you can go to my website, sjchilds.org. You're welcome to text me, 801-809-4541. Thank you again, and I'm just so honored to have the time to bring this presentation with you today. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.